Well, welcome to Unscripted with Owen and Tammy. And this is our first episode, inaugural session of sitting down and unscripted, unfiltered, just raw.
History
who we
is
really
being
are.
made today.
Yeah, this is a little
Transition.
different for us. This is really exciting for me because it gives us a chance to really talk about some of the subject matters and really issues that are important to us, but we don't get a chance to share it with all of our friends.
First of all, just our title, which we pondered on for a long time, Unscripted, is so different than what we're used to because we're always sort of scripted. We pretty much know what we're going to say and have a good idea. Well, this is kind of fun because we don't know what's going to come out today, and I think that's fun.
Well, actually, it kind of goes along more with my personality versus maybe yours because you like everything to be orderly and to be pre-planned and prepared, which is awesome. But then I kind of live for the moment, for the spontaneity of life. So I think we make a good blend. we meet a good balance. But these particular podcasts are about what we feel are unscripted. Simply really means that there are moments in life that come to us that sometimes we haven't prepared for.
Most of life, right?
Most of the things that
Good things, bad things.
no, I've heard it said that you can plan 10 years out.
Yeah.
But when you look after 10 years, most of what you plan really never takes place.
Isn't that amazing?
And although we should make plans,
Yeah.
I think God has a plan, and I think that's kind of the tension that we go through is that we have. I thought about this on the way into the studio this morning. Never did God tell us to follow our dreams.
That's true.
Jesus never preached, follow your dreams. What he preached was, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then all the other things will be added to you. I think we've got it all really confused in the church and in life. We should be following him.
Well,
and that's sometimes it's adventurous.
I think we get it confused because if I'm not mistaken, that's like Disney World. You go there and they say, follow your dreams, right? It's like a fantasy.
Everyone says, whatever you want to do in life, you've just got to be tenacious and you got to make it happen. And I get all that. We should be people who have courage and determination, and those are qualities and characteristics of life. But most of the things in my life that have happened to me have not been things that I've planned on. And there have been things that maybe he's planned, and I think that's what it is. Life is unscripted for us. God has a script.
Yes.
But the tension of and sometimes these suddenlies that happen to us that seem unscripted are in God's ways, no doubt, scripted and pre-planned.
Right.
So
there's so many things I can think about in our personal walk. And through the episodes here, we're going to have a chance to really get down and talk about a lot of our unscripted moments. And they're real, and they're raw, and they're relevant. And I just can't wait to elaborate on so many of the things that have happened to us. And in the end, you recognize that it was the Lord's hand. Even the things that seem tragic, you recognize it was really the Lord's hand all the while.
Can we get nitty gritty?
Uh-oh.
Real quickly.
Here we go.
You were unscripted. You.
I was unscripted.
Yeah, because we didn't know each other.
You are so right.
We never really dated.
No.
We did date. It wasn't like I didn't like you, but it was all. We'll get into that.
That helps.
We'll get into that, but just I'm sure later on in another episode we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Our meeting was unscripted.
Very unscripted.
And but there's challenges in life. You know, everyone in their inner core. We read this in Romans 1 this week. I was preaching to you, last week about.
You're always preaching to
Because
me.
Brooke came in the room and she's like, Dad, if somebody doesn't know Jesus and we didn't tell them, what about them if they go to hell or they go to the place of not heaven? And I said, Brooke, read Romans 1. Romans 1 says that God has appeared to every man through nature. And then Paul says they have no excuse.
Right.
And so we were talking about that, how God uses situations to bring us through to it. But it's this yearning inside of us that we all want a relationship with God. However, it's the moments where things that are unplanned and we're unprepared for that really God begins to speak to us. And so I'm challenged to try to recognize those moments where things seem to be raw, they seem to be out of control, they seem to be out of my grasp, but yet that's really God working in the midst of, like, somebody has said, God works in the dark, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's different for me to be unscripted, to be honest, because as you said, I'm really a type A personality. I like to be in control. And, the more you walk with the Lord, the more you realize that is not exactly how it works. Yeah. And you have to lose control and you have to let go of some things and you have to have a faith walk. And it's just different.
The truth is, though, it's that everyone wants a relationship with God. We want success. But it's through those unprepared moments, those suddenlies, that we come into, or we are confronted with, that we actually then have an opportunity to enter into. So really there's where the truth is between life and death, or success and not success. I think that is where having the ability to be flexible and to be willing to make a judgment call when it seems so unorthodox.
Yeah.
It's just so different, and recognizing that I think that's the key to success. So on these episodes, these podcast episodes, we're gonna discuss some of those.
It's gonna be good.
Some of those things that have taken place through us, or to us.
Yeah.
When we weren't really, we go back to you and I meeting. I mean,
oh gosh,
it was just.
Well, 30 years we'll be married.
Well, yeah, 30 years.
30 years
oh wow,
of marriage. I know that's 3 decades.
It's been so much fun. It seems like
3 times 10. I remember when we married 10 years, you got me this little anniversary band. I added to my ring. We've added through the years to the ring. And that was 20 years ago on the 10-year. I think we went back to Hawaii. But anyhow.
We went back to, and the 10 years and the 20 years.
It's 30 years and we're too busy to go anywhere right now. We just got back from Peru, so we're just hitting the mission field a little bit. But anyhow, I wanted to tell you I like your shirt. I don't know if they can see your shirt, but it says miracles still happen. That's kind of the anthem of our life. And your shirt actually brings me back memories, since this is our first podcast, of when we started television, called The Family of God. I know your family did TV before I even came along, but just when I came along.
I was just telling everybody earlier, I got started in church work in radio. And so this microphone brings back those memories of what I would,
Word alive.
What I would say, and now your radio host,
Word alive.
Owen McManus.
Yes.
And I try to use my Barry White voice, that low sound, and trying to.
You were great on radio. I used to listen to you when I first got saved.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. I like
Word
radio.
alive.
later, but it prepared you. But the difference in that day, and you're going back to what mom and dad, and dad was the first preacher on television in New Orleans. He was one of the first.
So it's so in the DNA.
He was one of the first radio. I think may have been, but he was definitely the first preacher in New Orleans on TV in New Orleans. So there's a progression there, and so now we fast forward, and I've done media, and then we've been involved, and now we're about to release our latest full-length motion picture, Redemption. A little plug-in for that we've been working on for 4 years of my life.
My Lord.
4 years, man. I mean, but
a lot happens in 4 years.
We could just talk about the last 4 years, and we could probably have 16 episodes of podcasts. But you go back to my early days. Everything's, and again, we just kind of bringing into understanding of what we're doing here. Everything was totally scripted.
Oh my goodness.
We did.
I have so many memories.
Well, back then you had to sing in the original days.
Oh Lord.
So they would have a couple of songs. So the songs had to be timed, and then the intros to the songs, and everything. Even the sets. The sets. I was talking about. Back in the day, the charismatic Pentecostals had to use gold.
Okay, great memory of a TV program, How You're Saying. Your mother was so elaborate. You had to love her.
She was the queen of bling bling.
Oh, the queen of bling bling. And she had us in a paddle boat in the lake behind your house. And the dresses on the paddle boat were real long.
Right, I had a tuxedo on.
And you had a tuxedo on in the paddle boat in the heat. And so the paddle boat was turning, and our backs started going toward the camera. You never put your back to the camera, right? That's
not
rule
supposed to the
101.
audience,
So the person doing the paddle boat's trying to keep it like facing forward, but one of the girls' dresses get caught in the little wheel. So she's getting pulled and all this, and you got this big smile on, and you're singing, and there's just so much going on that is like hilarious. But when you watch that TV program, you would have never known any of that.
No, you didn't.
Because we sure did play it off very well.
I don't know if people watch for
She'd tell you, climb up in the tree and sing a song.
I don't know if people watch for the content, or they just watch to just see what we're going to do next. It's like a 3-ring circus.
But yeah, the TV days, we would, what an effort.
Where was the message and all that? Yeah. I guess it was there. I don't know. It's just it's different, and it was for it was needed for the day. What I like about where we are in the world today is the reality of the realism that the generation today doesn't like all the fluff.
That's right.
And they cut through. They want to see the genuine, and it speaks to what we're doing here. If you're wondering why we're doing what we're doing, it's because we want to show you what it's like to be a Christian without Monday through Saturday.
That's true.
Not Sunday. I remember Jerry B. Walker. Remember he back in the Jerry B. Walker was a hoot, man. He was a Pentecostal preacher. And he would say, well, he had a country accent. He'd say, all the hypocrites come to church on Sunday, and and he said, all the real Christians come to prayer meetings.
He had something there.
He was like, right. Jerry B was a trip, man. Yes. But but the generation today, and I have to applaud them for that. Yeah. There's a lot of issues I have with this generation, but there's a lot of things I identify with. And one of the things I identify with this generation, which I think is a strong suit, is that show me the real thing.
Yeah.
Don't try to
appreciate that.
Don't try to put a mask on it. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Yeah. Show me what it is. Now, when you really get down to the brass tacks, really think, do they really want to hear it? However, I do like the model, the format, the forum. I love that because that was what I cried out for when I first got saved, because I saw Christianity from the backside. I was raised in the house. I was raised in church. I was raised in a preacher's home. And so I saw everything from the inside out. As you came in the vestibule, then you came into the church, and you sat and you go, wow, this is pretty cool. Meanwhile, I was in the kitchen with all the people cursing.
Different in the kitchen.
And yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
And then I had to come outside.
You go to any fancy restaurant, you go on the floor where everybody's eating. It's all perfect.
That's unscripted back there.
But you go in that kitchen, woo, that's a whole nother story.
Back there in the kitchen,
things are flinging.
They're supposed to do it a certain way and in order, but it doesn't always turn out to be that way. And that's life. That's life. Sometimes you burn the food.
Look,
sometimes
just Sunday, we're leaving for church. I mean, we have our time to leave. We got to get to
unscripted.
Church. It's a big day at City Church. And you go to grab a water. We're all dressed.
I'm dressed in my collar, so I really look really traditional. I look really holy.
The kids are dressed. We're walking out. Actually, I'm in the
car with the kids.
With the kids. Yeah. And I hear you scream. And then I hear a crash.
I went, whoa. That's my little signature. Whoa.
And that whoa always means something. I know this by now. So I run back in, and there's a bottle from the refrigerator crashes to the floor. There's liquid and glass everywhere, and then the refrigerator door falls off.
Yeah, not our big one. This is a small one, because that you gotta let the audience know, because that would be
it's
really
like a
disaster.
beverage refrigerator.
Right.
So the door's off.
It's still bad, but it's not our big refrigerator, which would have been really disastrous.
And, at that moment, you really first thing is you just want to almost cuss. You know what I'm saying? Like,
say
you're just
bad?
frustrated. You're like, yeah, you have bad words to say. You're frustrated. But then you got to get life together, and you got to realize, you know what? Things happen.
Things happen.
And I have a choice here. I can either let this ruin my day. Really, it could have there was glass, liquid, we're dressed. Now you got to get on I was on my hands and knees trying to clean the floor.
We both had collars on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But then you realize, it's a choice. Things happen in life. And if, I just kind of got myself together. I was going to do speak on offering that Sunday morning. And I remembered what David said in the scripture I was using. Bless the Lord.
At all times.
Oh, my soul. Well, sometimes you have to bless the Lord when everything's going wrong. Sometimes you have to bless the Lord when you're in the valley, not on the mountaintop. It's easy to bless the Lord when you get great news, when good things are happening. But sometimes you got to bless the Lord when you're on your hands and knees in a mess.
It's our response to the unscripted moments, because they are perceived at first to be negative. And I think that's what that to me, the reality of life's true flow, expecting the unexpected, but our response to the unexpected is where life and death, success or unsuccessful living. And I'm always reminding myself of that, because the truth is, no matter what our temperament's like, we want things to be in control. We want to know why and what's going on at the moment. Yeah. And if we don't know, we freak out, and then we start really upset with God first. Yeah. Because we're like, well, if he was really in control, why are these things happening? The truth is, sometimes the out of control is God trying to bring your life into control.
Well,
He's trying to rearrange
when
things.
we would drive into church on Sunday morning, I even thought, you know what? What if that happened because the Lord was delaying us to prevent an accident?
Could be.
A broken bottle and liquid on the ground and a door off is a lot easier to handle than getting in an accident.
Well, that's what I always remind myself, because they just put a traffic light right outside of our subdivision.
Not even needed.
Not needed.
Right.
And, I had made up in my mind, listen, every time that thing turns red on me.
Listen, type A
I'm going
personalities
anyway.
hate red lights.
I'm going. It's like I'm just so mad at the parish of St. Tammany for putting that
Come on.
traffic light up.
We should write them a letter.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
Right.
It's like
But you gotta know.
sit there, wait for like 2 minutes for nobody to pass you by. I don't even know why they but the thing is, I have to remind myself, and I have, so don't call anybody on me. I'm a law-abiding citizen, so
we are.
Nobody's there.
We do stop at the red light.
I do stop, and I tell
Reluctantly,
myself,
but we stop.
you're probably avoiding an accident
Exactly.
by obeying this.
Well, that's what came to me.
Somebody
driving.
might be waiting for you somewhere to do you harm.
Yeah.
And this delay is going to cause you not to interact or intersect with those individuals. I don't know all of God's plan. I don't know everything that's going on, but then I just have to trust him.
That's the thing. Trust.
Trust. And trust is sometimes living unscripted.
That's it.
That doesn't mean we just get up in the morning and say, okay, what do I do today?
Right.
No, we go through our life, we go through our routine, but then there are those suddenlies, those spontaneous moments that shift things for us, and it's always for our good. We may not recognize it, but it's always for our good if we truly we hang in there and listen, and eventually we don't always come to understanding, but we'll learn it eventually. The reasons why things took place as they did unfold.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward.
It's exciting.
To these.
It's fresh. It's new. It's different for us doing a podcast. It's different. We've never done We've done radio. We've done TV, although this is still on TV. But I do want to say to those listening, watching us today, that whatever means you're watching or listening on, we do want you to subscribe. And we do want you to be aware and alerted every time one of these podcasts are available, because I believe we do have a lot that is going on in our life that can relate to your life.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's one thing to just teach. I love teaching from the Bible. I love that. But there's another thing of telling you, I've been through this. We've had a lot of struggles. We've had a lot of things in our lives that we have really, really been in moments that look like we were going to be defeated, and God has brought the victory. And I don't think there's any better way to encourage people or to help people than to let you know that we've been through some things.
Right.
I mean, 30 years of marriage, just our marriage walk is a walk. Our parenting walk is a walk. Our walk in the ministry is a walk.
Right.
And there's just been a lot of ebbs and flows and ups and downs. And we have truly seen the hand of the Lord in every single situation. Every situation.
We're going to try to tackle some sensitive issues and discussions that need to happen.
Yeah.
In a correct forum. For instance, like racial equality and unity, something that I think that, in a way, we may have a little credibility. We were looking at the Elvis movie, and again, don't judge me. People, don't judge me.
Which is before our day.
But, we're talking about how Elvis has influenced the African-American community. And I knew those things, growing up in the South. And you looked at me and said, your life was kind of like that. Yeah. And I said, it was, Brooke asked us, I said, when I was a kid, I still remember white only signs. And,
amazing.
It's like, I know it's 60 years ago, I'm 60 years old. But that was a part of my upbringing, yet my life didn't reflect that. We crossed over those barriers. And so we're gonna talk about that. Not that I think I know it all. I'm still learning about the plight of some of our brothers and sisters that they've had to go through, that they have been silent and quiet about, yet still, people are hurting, people are going through pain. And so we're going to talk about those things. We're going to talk about our journey in ministry, our journey as a couple. We've had a lot of great moments, but we've had some challenges. So I think that to me, I'm looking forward.
So the bottom line is
those
where
events.
we are in life now. We've been through this COVID pandemic, and for so long we've worn masks it almost became normal to wear a mask. And that seems very strange to me that we would ever feel normal with a mask on. But now that we're getting past that, now you don't walk around and everywhere you go, every single person has a mask on. Even when you go to medical facilities now, they say it's optional, which I'm like, oh, this is cool. Right. Because I'm claustrophobic. I don't like the mask. If it's necessary, I'll wear it, but I don't really like a mask.
Let me help some of our American friends out here. We think America's so tough. We just came back from Peru. We had to wear 2 masks. And if you're caught without a vaccination card or 2 masks, they will arrest you.
But my point
That's Peru.
So it's saying that.
So, everyone's challenged with all these things.
I just believe that where we are, because now we're getting COVID will always be around, but we're learning to live with it and get past it, and we're not walking around with masks anymore.
Hopefully we're moving forward.
Much. I believe that's where we are in this podcast with Unscripted. I think we're at a place that it's time to take the mask off.
Ooh, I like that.
Which is
take the mask
happy
off.
Moment for me. Because behind the mask, you can hide, you can disguise. Funny, we ran into an old neighbor a few weeks ago.
They were wearing their mask.
And she had her mask on. And then I'm like, I didn't ask her, but she said, oh, I want you to know I'm not really wearing the mask because I believe in the mask or I feel like I need the mask on. She said, my tooth broke. And so I'm going to wear this mask till I get it fixed. And I thought, okay, so now we're using the mask to hide things and disguise things, right?
But then nobody would know.
And no one will know. And isn't that life?
Well, I think, sure it is.
Let's remove the mask.
I think that if we just cosmetically put a good face on it, then we pretend it'll go away. Yeah. And I think I get what you're saying. The metaphor of the mask.
Let's talk about things.
Talk about things in a unscripted, just off the cuff. Let's just bear it all and see if we can't get some civility and some understanding and some clarity. Mm-hmm. And I think that is exactly what we're gonna do, where we're going. Mm-hmm. So as you said, all of our friends who are watching us, you can subscribe on all platforms. So if you are a podcast person and you listen to you will find us. We are on all. So and if YouTube, and of course I understand.
So like and subscribe and share.
Apple, Spotify, Google. So all of these platforms, the main ones, you can find us. And
YouTube.
I'm looking forward to discussing. We're going to have some family and some friends on some of these episodes as we go forward. So it's going to be very, very
cool, huh?
Very interesting in the next coming weeks and months.
Yes.
Awesome time.
Thank God for all the things we've been through and that we're able to come on and have a podcast and say, we've been through it, but we are through it. And we don't know what's to come. There's always things to come. But thank God that when the Lord's on your side, when you really know that He is on your side, even when you go through things, we know there's things in life you have to face, but I'm thankful for the confidence and the trust in the Lord that He has been with us through every situation, and I know He will continue to be with us. Yeah. And I'm so thankful for the Lord in our lives, the center of our joy.
Well, thank you for joining us and spending this time with us, and hope you understand what we're doing and what this whole endeavor is about. We're going to just kind of strip it all, talk about it, and encourage one another.
Get ready.
And let's see where it takes us. I believe great things are in store for us.